It's another
Yeah.
lovely day at Crypto Cove, everyone. It's great to be here. Hey, let's all hear it. Isn't this a nice night, Crypto Cove?
It's
Yes,
awesome.
it sure
Yeah.
Thank you
is.
so
Yes,
much.
it is.
Nice.
Yep, alrighty. So this is going to be a replacement call for the usual call that happens around this time. If you know, you know if you're a regular around these parts. But anyway, tonight what we're going to do is we're going to go over swapping and a couple different methods of swapping because we have several newcomers that have shown up since we did the last video on swapping. And it definitely helps to have a refresher every now and then, even if you think you've got it down pat. Wouldn't you say, Paul?
Absolutely, yes. Very valuable.
And so, yeah, anyway, we'll go ahead and jump right into it. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen. And let's go over to my web browser. And we're going to go over just swapping on the same chain, first of all. Now, there's going to be several instances where you might want to swap tokens on a different chain than the BSC scan that we all, BSC, the Binance Smart Chain that we all know and love. And you'll definitely see that if you start going further into Web3. A good rule of thumb is that a couple of the more popular decentralized exchanges are Uniswap. That's if you're on Ethereum, as well as several other different types of chains. If you want to swap on the Solana chain, then you might want to take a look at Jupiter, since that's also pretty popular on the Solana chain, and so on. There's several different types of decentralized exchanges out there, and you can definitely find one that fits your needs for the chain that you're working with. But for today, we're going to be focusing on PancakeSwap for this portion because that's the main tool that everyone here is going to be using, particularly when they're dealing with pool funding. And before I get on that, Paul, you have a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask if your training is going to focus on BEP20 tokens predominantly, and whether everybody understands what that is, and if they're dealing with a different kind of token, whether we cover, or whether you're going to cover how to swap to a different chain altogether and a different token, different chain, basically, like the
Right, so
ERC20, for example.
right, so yeah, we're going to be touching on that a little bit through cross-chain swaps. That's going to be the third portion I have planned.
Fantastic.
But yeah, as far as BEP20 goes, BEP20 is the token standard for the Binance Smart Chain. It's based off of the ERC20 token standard that's on the Ethereum chain. And ERC stands for Ethereum Request for Comments. So this essentially is one big network based off of Ethereum. And indeed, the Binance Smart Chain was, in fact, built off of Ethereum's ecosystem as well. That's why you see it compatible with MetaMask. That's why you see it compatible with Trust Wallet. That's why you see it compatible with most Web3 wallets for that matter. So, yeah, that's definitely useful that we have that interoperability that we can use, and that's definitely been helpful in more ways than one. So we'll go ahead and get started. I'll share my screen again. All right, so first, when you come to PancakeSwap, you're going to see a screen that looks pretty much like this. This is the home screen for PancakeSwap. And from here, what you'll want to do is you'll go up to trade and then click swap. And then this is in the way. And then what you'll want to do is you'll want to click the blue Connect Wallet button. You'll see a big Connect Wallet button here, and you'll see a small one up here in the upper right corner. They both do the same exact thing, so just pick whichever button you'd like to press. And the majority of people here are going to be using MetaMask, so we'll go ahead and select MetaMask. And then you'll want to select Connect on the EVM. Now, some of you may also want to click Connect on Solana as well. I generally just stick to EVM. EVM stands for Ethereum Virtual Machine, and that's the technology that underpins a lot of what we do using Binance Smart Chain. So we'll go ahead and click Connect, and then MetaMask will pop up with a connection request saying that it wants to connect with PancakeSwap.finance. Everything looks good here. So I'll go ahead and click the connect button. All right, and now I can just click anywhere else on the page to dismiss this because I don't want to connect Solana. All right, and from here, what we can do is we can select the token that we want to swap from. So I'm going to go ahead and click on BNB, and I'm going to select USDT. That's one of the popular tokens noted here, sort of a quick pick, as it were. And tonight, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to swap a bit over to PML. So first, we'll go ahead and click on Cake, and we'll type in PML. And there it is. Now, if this is your first time coming to PancakeSwap, this won't be here for you. So what you'll have to do is you'll have to import the token, be its token contract address. So let me go ahead and grab that. PML. And I'll go over to the PML chart. Then I'll go over to its BSC scan entry. And then I'll copy the token contract address from this information here where it says token contract. All right, now let's go back over to PancakeSwap. And let's go ahead and click on Cake again. And I'll go ahead and paste that contract address into the search name / address field. All right, and it detects PML. Now, if you've never done this before, you'll see a blue import button here, which you'll want to click on, and then it'll have you indicate that you understand that custom tokens can be created by anyone. You'll check the box that says you understand that, then click import, and then you'll have it available to select. So I'm going to go ahead and select PML. And I'm going to swap, say, $10 worth of USDT to PML. So I'll input 10. And by the way, PancakeSwap goes by the amount of the token that you're wanting to swap, not its USDT value. So you can't do this with BNB unless you actually have 10 BNB, for example. So definitely keep an eye on that because mistakes have been known to happen. All right, so now PancakeSwap is showing me a swap quote for the $10 worth of USDT to PML. We'll just wait for it to refresh. All right, now I'll go ahead and click on the blue swap button. And now PancakeSwap will show you some information about the swap you're about to make. It'll show you the price of PML per USDT, so you can see how much you're getting for your dollar, as it were. You can see the impacts that your buy is going to have on the price. In this case, we see that 0.86, so pretty standard for this sort of transaction. slippage tolerance. Now, most of the time, you're going to want to keep this set at the default auto, and usually that's going to be at 0.5%. What this is essentially it tells the system how much of a change you're willing to accept if there's a price change between the time that you create the swap and when it actually gets fulfilled. Minimum received, that shows the minimum amount of PML that you're going to receive. If we see the worst case scenario here with the slippage tolerance, where the price goes up 0.5%, so you get just a bit less of the PML than what the quotes here shows. Trading fee. Now, this is a fee charged by PancakeSwap for the service because, of course, just like anyone, they need to keep the lights on. And this is entirely separate from the gas fee that you pay within MetaMask to the network. So with that in mind, we'll go ahead and click Confirm Swap. And MetaMask will pop up with a transaction request. If this is your first time engaging with PancakeSwap, you might see some permission requests to create a spending cap for PancakeSwap, so you'll approve that. But in this case here, we can see that I just have the transaction request here, which includes 3 transactions. That'll be to approve the transaction and submits the swap request. So I'll go ahead and click Review Alert. And this is a matter of MetaMask being completely overzealous with protecting the user. This happens whenever you're involved in a service that use a lot of smart contracts like we do, because smart contracts have the ability to take funds out of your wallets without your express permission if you give them permission to in the first place. So some crypto newbies are obviously quite nervous about that. But as many on this call know, all the smart contracts we use are pretty beneficial to the user. So not to worry. So I went ahead and ticked through those warnings and clicked the confirm button to confirm the transaction. And the transaction went through. So we can go ahead and take a look at it on BSC scan. And we can see that I bought $10 worth of PML. Looks like it had to take some PML from the 2 separate versions of the liquidity contracts, actually. So that's very interesting. I pushed the liquidity pool down a bit. So let's go ahead and check and make sure that the trade shows up on the chart. And indeed it does. So it looks like I pushed the price up a little bit. I'm not entirely sure how much that was since I wasn't really watching, but hey, it's something. I imagine someone else was watching and they'll let us know pretty quickly. So anyway, with that in mind, the transaction is complete, and I can go ahead and put this transaction hash into the chat if anyone would like to see it. All right, so that just about does it for the on-chain swap portion of the swapping call. Does anyone have any questions about that before we move on?
Silence is
No.
golden.
You did such a good job. How do no one's got any questions?
I guess so. Alrighty, so the next thing on the docket is a peer-to-peer swap, and Paul, you graciously volunteered to do this before the call, so I'm going to make sure you're still a co-host. So what usually happens in cases like these is one person has to be the one to agree to send the token first. And in this case, what Paul and I are going to do is I'm going to send him $10 worth of BNB, and he's going to send me $10 worth of USDT. Now, this is definitely something you only want to do with people you trust, ideally people that are on the same team as you. Definitely you want to do this with someone who has the best interest in not messing you over. Because for all Paul knows that after I receive the USDT, if he decides to send me first, I could just say, well, thanks for the money, call over. I'm not going to do that, but point of fact is there really would be nothing preventing me from doing that if I decide I want to do that. And it's the same situation for any trading partner you have, really. So you definitely want to only trade with someone that you trust. And another thing that's worthy of note is that you can't do a peer-to-peer swap with any of the PF custom tokens. You can't do that with PFI, PFB, PFS, PFG, or PML. That's not allowed, and it's going to be considered a sell, regardless of the fact that it wasn't actually on the market. So, just a couple caveats before we get started on there. And yeah, the first thing that Paul and I have to do is we definitely have to negotiate who is going to send what first. So Paul, I'm going to be, since I'm the host, I'm going to be a gracious host, and I'm going to send you the $10 worth of BNB first. So can you go ahead and put your wallet address in the chat, and you send it over to me via private message. That's good. All right, so I'll go ahead and copy your address.
Would it help to put that in the public chat? Does that make any difference?
Well, it really doesn't make much of a difference. I'm also going to post the transaction hash for the transaction into the public chat so people can see that as well. Okay. We're all transparent here. All right, so I'll go ahead and share my screen again, and I'll go ahead and make that transaction.
Okay. When you have, do you want me to share my screen and then show people how I send it back?
Right. And so I'll go ahead and see my wallet address after I get done here. Of course, I know you already have it, but of course, just so people can see what's meant to happen here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the send button. And then I'm going to select the token I want to send. In this case, I want to send BNB. So I'll click on BNB. And then I'm going to paste in Paul's wallet address. And Paul, can you just verify that that looks correct to you?
Let me just open my wallet. Bear with me 1 second.
Yeah, this is definitely something that you want to double check, folks, if you're at all able. And also, if you end up trading with a particular trading partner who are doing transactions with a particular person quite a bit, it also may behoove you to create a contact in MetaMask for them. And I have an entire dedicated video on that sort of thing.
So just to confirm, Hunter, my address starts with, I think that's a 0x7e and ends in 7BDB.
Yep, that looks right. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and switch the value estimation here from BNB to USD. And I'm going to type in 10. So that's 10 US dollars worth of BNB. And I'll go ahead and click continue. And everything looks good here. I'll go ahead and click confirm. All right, it shows us confirmed. Now I'm going to go to the transaction and I'm going to click view on Block Explorer so I can see the transaction on BSC scan. and everything looks good here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the URL to this BSC scan entry. So that way Paul can see that I did the transaction. And of course, I'm going to put it in the chat so everyone can see.
At some point, Hunter, can you touch on that thing that's often there that says fake phishing as well? Maybe touch on that at some point.
Right, so that usually refers to when you receive tokens from a phishing contract that sends tokens out to pretty much everyone and everything on the blockchain that can find. Now, in most cases, these tokens are benign and don't do anything whatsoever, but I definitely advise you not to interact with them at all, because the absolute best case, of course, is that they don't do anything and they're just junk. But the worst case, if you interact with them in some fashion, is that they could indeed lose to you losing tokens that are in your wallet. So if you see something like that, the best advice I can give you is to just ignore it, leave it alone, forget it exists.
Yeah, thank you, Hunter. Shall I share my screen?
Yep, you can go ahead and share your screen, and I'll go ahead and send you my wallet address. In fact, I'll put that in the public chat and also send it over to you via private message.
Oops. Am I sharing my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Okay, so I'll open up my wallet. That's my BNB. I can obviously see that there's more there now than there was. But you want me to send USDT, is that right?
That's right.
Okay.
10 USDT.
So there's my Tether USD. Click on send. And this might be an opportunity to demonstrate the contacts feature, the address feature. So if I click on that, I've actually got Hunter's address in my contacts. Just confirm that that's correct. Ends in 9E795.
That's right.
Okay, so I can just click on his name, enter in the 10, and I've got the USDT showing there. Click on continue, confirm. I'm clicking, there we go. Just waiting for that to confirm which it has, and then I can do exact same thing as you've just done. I look on the blockchain, Block Explorer, I should say. Grab the transaction hash. Actually, I can just send that whole link there, can't I?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah, sending the transaction. Go ahead.
Sorry, so I've just copied that. I'll just quickly paste that into the chat, obviously. So I might just add 10 USDT returned. Oops, and there we go. That's the link.
All right,
Oh, I've
I'll
done
go
that
ahead
to you.
and
Sorry, let me
no
make that
problem.
public. Let's go to everyone. So there we go.
Alrighty, and I'll go ahead and stop your share, and then I'll go ahead and start my share again, so people can see what the transaction looks like on my side. And of course, it's going to look pretty similar as it did on Paul's end, with the exception of I'm using a different size screen, and I use the dark mode on BSC scan. And yep, everything looks correct here. I can see everything looks right here. And I do indeed have Paul's wallet address tagged, so I can see that it did in fact come from him. and it did go to my main wallet, so that looks good there. Everything, excuse me, everything looks good here. So yeah, that's a quick and easy way to go about doing peer-to-peer swapping. And again, this is definitely something you want to do with someone that you trust, someone you know has a vested interest in not messing you over. Ideally, someone who's on your team, or perhaps potentially even your direct sponsor or someone else in your upline, as it were. So, are there any questions about that before we move on to the final section of my docket?
All good, my side.
Hunter,
Yes.
sometimes in the confirmation screen at the end, I selected USDT and then I see the BNB mentioned with 0 BNB and then the USDT contract address as a destination. Should I accept that, or is that not? Just cancel and try it again.
Cancel and try it again. That's a
Yeah,
glitch
yeah,
that
okay.
happens sometimes where MetaMask thinks that you don't turn excuse me, you don't turn enough gas to do the transaction, and usually that's caused by just a small minor hiccup in the RPC. Usually that fixes itself, so what you should do is you should just hit cancel and then try the transaction again. Any further questions?
Hey, Hunter.
Hello, Gregory.
Just a quick thing. I somehow missed it. So let's say you're doing a transaction with Paul for the very first time, and you want to save his contract address. What do you click on to save that?
So there's a section in MetaMask settings where you can go to add a contact, and from there you can put, in this case, Paul's wallet address in, and you can add him as a contact. So that way you can quickly pick his wallet address and pick his name when you go to make the transaction. Now you can do that ahead of time, or you can of course also do that while you're making the transaction.
Can you show me where you do that?
Right, so I'll go ahead and copy Paul's wallet address again and demonstrate it.
Use a random one, Hunter, because obviously mine is in your contacts address already. So if you use a random one
it's not.
Oh, it's not. Okay, fine.
Alrighty. So I'll go ahead and share my screen again. And let's open up MetaMask. All right, and so what you'll want to do is you want to click on the 3 bars up here in the top right. Then you'll go to Settings. Then you'll click on Contacts. And from here, you can see the contacts that you already have, if you have any, but you can also click on the Add Contact button. So then you can paste in the wallet address you're wanting to add, and you can add a name that you want to have associated with that wallet address. In this case, I'll say Paul T for Paul Thompson, and then I'll click Save. So now when I go over to create another transaction, say if I want to send Paul something again, let's say PML. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and click on this book icon here, and then I'll be able to see the different wallet addresses I use. Definitely helpful if you want to send funds in between your different MetaMask accounts if you have multiple accounts. But past this, you also see your contacts, and we can see Paul T here. So we can go ahead and click on him. And then I can proceed with inputting however much of whichever token I want to send him. Then it
200
works
will be
just like
plenty.
and that works just like a normal transaction.
Okay, Hunter, thank you for showing that to me.
Do you also want to demonstrate how you can do that mid-transaction, Hunter?
Right, so let me see here. Let me just copy someone else's wallet address here. And I'll probably just do one at random. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Oh, you can do mine and put 500.
And it'll go ahead and pick yours. I'll go ahead and copy your wallet address. And I'll go ahead and start my screen share again.
Go right to the point where you put in 500 and then back out of it.
Alrighty, so I'll go ahead
don't
and
take it out. Just leave it. You know what I'm saying? Just leave it.
I'll go ahead and open my wallet again, and let's select PML. And I'll click send. Then I'll go ahead and paste its wallet address in. And switch that. Let's say 500. And now I'll go ahead and click continue. And from here, we can see the two setting here, where it's showing a wallet address here, but it's not showing any sort of indication as to who this is. So we can go ahead and click here. And it already has the wallet address pre-filled out. So what I can do from here is I can enter in the name that I want to assign to this wallet address. In this case, it'll be Ed B for Ed Blaze. And then I'll click the save button. And now I have him saved as a contact. And now I can go ahead. And now I can go ahead and click confirm. Is what I would be clicking if I wanted to do that. But I'll go ahead. I'll go ahead and click cancel.
I'm sorry, I've been disruptive. Sorry, Hunter.
You're a bad influence.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
He's a naughty boy.
Yeah.
Close, not confirmed.
All right. Does anyone else have any questions about any of that before we move on?
All good.
Yeah, it looks like I did my job too well again.
Just like Ace says.
You are very good, Hunter. It's very, very clear how you present
right.
it. So yeah, thank you. Well done.
Alrighty, so we'll go ahead and head to the last portion of the call, and that'll be swapping from a different chain. So I'll go ahead and share my screen again. Now, some people swear by bridging from one chain to the other token, one chain to the other chain rather, using bridging tools like Celeron Bridge or Stargate. Most of the time, I usually don't recommend that because those can be a bit more complex, particularly for those that are new to crypto. So usually I recommend just using a swap tool like SimpleSwap for folks who are in the US, or if you're outside the US, you'll use FixedFloat, which is what I'm going to use. Now, I have dedicated videos on this that go through a bit more detail, but as a bit of a rundown here, you can select the token that you want to swap from. In this case, I'm going to select USDT on the Ethereum chain. And you can select the token that you want to receive. In this case, I'm going to select USDT on the Binance Smart Chain. And from there, I can go to MetaMask and copy my wallet address and paste into the destination box. And Paul, you have a question?
Yeah, sorry to stop you midway through, but I just wanted
No
to
problem.
establish, is this platform, two questions. Is this specifically described as a bridging platform? Question one. Question two, what draws you to this particular platform? Why do you use this particular platform?
So this isn't a bridging platform. This is a generic swap tool that I tend to use. And you'll see that it supports a wide range of different tokens that you can swap. You can also see that it supports Bitcoin, Ethereum, Monero,
Wow,
etc., etc.,
really
etc.
useful to know. Could you put the link to that in the chat?
Yep, I'll
That
go
seems
ahead
like
and put the link in and also have it in the video description of this video.
fantastic. So I
Right.
do have another question.
Could you put it in Telegram?
Yeah, I'll probably put it in Telegram after the call.
Okay, good. Easier then.
Alrighty, so Paul, you said you had another question.
Yeah, so what's the difference between a bridging platform and a swapping platform or a swapping service?
So a bridging service is fairly similar, but most of the time when you're using a bridging service is when you're wanting to bridge value of the token rather than the token itself. So like, for example, you can, in some cases, bridge Bitcoin to wrapped Bitcoin. That is a tokenized form of Bitcoin to where you can use that value on another blockchain, ideally a Web3 compatible blockchain, like say Ethereum or the Binance Smart Chain. Now that's what it was initially designed for, and some people have been able to sort of jury-rig it as a bit of a swapping service, but that can also be a bit limiting because you can only swap like for like. So for example, in this case, I'm swapping USDT on the Ethereum chain to USDT on the Binance Smart Chain. So I could use a bridging service if I want to do it that way. But what if I want to do something else? Say, what if I want to swap USDT on the Ethereum chain for BNB, for instance? Now, a bridging service is not going to let me do that.
Uh,
I can only swap like for like on a bridging service.
okay.
So I'll go ahead and copy my wallet address and put it into the destination field. All right, then I'll go ahead and click exchange now. And this process is going to be fairly similar on SimpleSwap for those of you in the US who are going to be using that. I'll also have a link to SimpleSwap in the video description. All right, so we're back over at FixedFloat with the swap created. So it's telling me to send 19 USDT on the Ethereum chain to this address. I'll go ahead and copy this wallet address. Then I'll go ahead and open my MetaMask wallet.
Thank
Then
you.
you're welcome. Not sure what I did, but you're welcome. All right, so I'll go ahead and select Ethereum in the network selector. You don't have to do this, but I find it best if you just focus on one network that you're working with at that present moment. That way you can hopefully avoid any mistakes. So I'll go ahead and click on send, and I'll type in USDT, And I'm going to make sure I'm selecting the USDT on the Ethereum chain. So I can also click all networks here and select Ethereum. And there it is, Tether USD. So I'm going to go ahead and send to the wallet address it gave me. And I'm going to input 19 because that's the amount it's telling me to send. So I'll go ahead and click continue. And gas fees look, well, it's Ethereum, so yeah. I'll go ahead and click confirm. Transaction submitted. We'll go ahead and give that a minute to go through. Transaction complete. We'll view activity, and there it is. And SimpleSwap sees the transaction, so we're just waiting for it to get 4 confirmations. Usually a confirmation on the Ethereum blockchain takes anywhere from 12 to 15 seconds. So you'll be waiting here for about a minute or so. And I should mention that doing a swap like this will only work if you already have some of the gas token for the network that you're swapping from. So in this case, I already had some Ethereum, but if you don't already have any Ethereum, then you'll want to use a specialty gasless swap service, like, for example, Small Refuel. Now, this allows you to take out a short-term loan for the gas fee that you'll use to swap some of your token to the native gas token on the network. I'm not going to be doing this for this particular call for the sake of time, but I have a video on going over this, and I've actually gone over a couple different members regarding this as well. And this is the exact method that you would use to fix the issue of, for example, you buying the USDT on the wrong chain, like we've seen more than a few times. A user will buy USDT on the Ethereum chain rather than on the BSC scan. Binance Smart Chain. Excuse me. Alrighty, so let's go back over to FixedFloat, and we can see that the swap has completed. So we can go ahead and scroll down, and we can go ahead and click on the BSC scan logo to see the transaction on the blockchain. And we can see a public note here that this is a wallet address tied to FixedFloat. And we can see that it sent $18.87 worth of USDT to my wallet. So let's go over to select BNB chain. And we can see the additional USDT in my wallet here. So that was pretty simple. And the process is going to be pretty similar if you do a swap through SimpleSwap. You'll select the token that you want to swap from and select the token that you want to swap to. Then you'll hit exchange and put in your wallet address, and then you'll be able to go through the swap. And again, this process will be very similar to how we just saw it on FixedFloat. Alrighty, so that's the third and last portion of that for swapping. Does anyone have any questions about this before we move on?
How in the world did FixedFloat get its name?
You know, that's a good question. I imagine it's probably let me go ahead and share my screen again. Now, of course, you'd probably have to ask them about this, but it probably has to do with the idea that you can select two different rates here. You can select a fixed rate or a float rate. Now, a fixed rate is going to lock in your swap quotes here. For the amounts you send here, is going to end up being this amount once you create the exchange, but that also carries a higher fee. Now, if you select a float rate, then the amount that you get could be variable between the time that you create the swap and when FixedFloat actually receives the tokens for the swap from you and does the swap. So this could change with the value of the token going up and down on either side of the equation. Now, that's typically not an issue, of course, since we're dealing with stablecoin spikes here, but that may be of some concern if you're dealing with a token pair, like, for example, if you're swapping Bitcoin to Ethereum, then you might want to consider enabling fixed rates, especially if you're sending a lot of Bitcoin and hoping to get quite a bit of Ethereum. But in most cases, what you'll probably want to do is you'll want to leave it at the defaults for float rate, because that carries a lower exchange fee.
Okay, thank you, Hunter.
Awesome information. Great presentation.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any other questions about anything we've gone over? Or
I have a
anything else?
question.
Go ahead.
So this fixed float, you can't be in the US to use it, or
Right,
can you use
do
it?
not they do not accept customers from the US, unfortunately.
So can you get away with it if you have a VPN?
I have seen some people do that. Of course, I'm not going to promote or condone flouting exchanges because, of course, they do have to live up to their exchange partners' demands. So you could potentially get banned from the swap tool for doing that. So, of course, as with anything, do so at your own risk.
All right, I was just, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
and the reason why I usually pick FixedFloat over SimpleSwap is that with FixedFloats, you usually see just a bit better swap rates for your swap buck, as it were, than you do with SimpleSwap. But for those in the US, I absolutely do recommend SimpleSwap. I've used them before, and yeah, I definitely do enjoy them. And on the occasion where the swap pair that I want to swap to or from isn't available on FixedFloat, then SimpleSwap is my next port of call. No questions asked.
So you can use SimpleSwap being where you are now. Like we just can't go to FixedFloat. Like you
Right.
could
Well,
use SimpleSwap.
absolutely. And I also have a video going over the use of SimpleSwap for anyone interested. It's also on my channel.
So where's your channel actually?
I'll go ahead and put in the chat.
Thank you, Hunter.
Go ahead and copy this from here. Guess I'll go ahead and make the algorithm happy. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. I hate that you have to do that now. Anyway. So, are there any other questions about anything we've gone over?
So I'd just like to confirm the fact that you're not actually directly associated with pool funding. You're not supported by pool funding. as an admin or as an executive, and you do all of this out of the goodness of your heart, basically, and spend an immense amount of time helping people, and you don't get anything in return for that other than the joy of helping people. Is that right?
Absolutely. I am completely independent of Wolfgang and its executives. Although, of course, I am friends with just about every single one of them at this point. I'm not official in any way, shape, or form.
No.
And
So with that in
yet,
mind,
absolutely, go ahead.
with that in mind, can I suggest to everybody that you show a bit of appreciation for Hunter and send him a couple of dollars to his wallet address, which is in the chat?
You're
If
too
anyone would like
kind.
to do that, then please do so. He's a gem, as I'm sure you all appreciate, and we really appreciate having him as part of our team, without a question.
Yeah, and yes, indeed, I do enjoy helping people. I do get a lot of joy out of it in one way or another. For one reason being, I just enjoy helping people because I want each and every one of you to have a great experience with crypto, because we of course know that crypto will be the future. I think hopefully everyone on this call knows that by this point. I've certainly talked about it enough. So, of course, better you all make the changeover now than later. And believe it or not, folks, even though crypto has been around for many years now, you're still in the very early stages because most folks still don't know about what crypto is really. They don't want to know, they don't care. Most people know about crypto is that it's gone up over the years and they might invest in it, but they know pretty much nothing whatsoever about it. So you're in the very small minority of people that know more about crypto and you want to learn more about crypto. That's part of why you're here. And go
Sorry,
ahead.
I was talking to one of my affiliates earlier today, and I said to them that if I went to my local high street and approached 100 people and asked them if they knew very much about crypto, there's a very high probability that less than 1% or one person out of 100 would know as much as we know just from being part of full funding. So
Exactly.
that's how precious we are in a sense, and how advanced we are as well as a community.
Exactly. And the other reason that I like helping people the way I do is that, of course, me doing well also depends a bit on you're doing well in one form or another, because a rising tide ultimately lifts all boats. So if you do better in pool funding or in crypto as a whole, ultimately all end up doing better in one form or another. The whole idea of this community, and for that matter, a lot of the idea of the true purpose of crypto in general, is that everyone does better when everyone does better.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty,
Good.
so does anyone else have any other questions, comments, things of that nature?
Can I ask a stupid question?
No, you can't. There are no stupid questions.
I don't know. You're probably going to think this one is stupid. So, okay. So let's say I want to send Hunter $5 right now. So I go to MetaMask and I hit the send button, and then I put in his address, and I get an error message saying there are no tokens matching your filters. So what am I doing wrong?
So it could be that you're not selecting the correct USDT, or it could be that you're on another chain, or it could be that your RPC needs to be set to a different RPC endpoint. Reach out to me after the call and we can take a look at that if you'd like.
From the description, it sounds as though you may simply not have chosen the specific token that you wanted to send. So my tip to people is always select the particular token that you want to send first, and then go to the send button, because then you'll know that that send button is attached to that particular token that you want to send.
Oh, okay. I think I was doing this all wrong because I would hit the send button and then I would put Hunter's wallet address in. But that's not what you're supposed to put in. You're not putting in the wallet address of who you want to send it to.
Well, I think you still have an option at that point to enter the wallet address, but then choose the token. But if you do it the other way around and choose the token first, you can't go wrong.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome.
Alrighty, so does anyone else have any questions, comments, anything of that nature?
How are
Should
your
we talk about the
patients?
Christmas gifts?
Oh yeah,
Right, we're about to get to that. I just want to make sure there aren't any questions or anything of that sort, and then I'll give Paul the floor.
if everybody wants to open up their audio and just give Hunter a thank you and a round of applause, maybe,
Yeah,
because
thank
I
you,
think he's
Hunter.
just so good at presenting this
Yeah.
information.
Thanks, Hunter.
Thanks, Hunter. Thank
Done.
you,
Very much.
Hunter.
Brilliant
Thank you,
stuff.
Hunter.
Woohoo.
Appreciate all you do.
Yeah,
Thanks
also.
very much. Really
Glad I
appreciate
can
it.
be here. Absolutely.
Hey, Han, can you give us an update on what's happening with your family?
So she's probably going to be in the hospital until Thursday. That's
Wow.
about all I want to say on the recording. But anyway, with that in mind, if there's nothing else,
Thoughts and prayers, brother.
yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. All right, so if there's nothing else, we want to end this call on a bit of a special note, since this is technically now an official call since they said so. So with that, I'll go ahead and give Paul the floor and take it away, Paul.
Yeah, thank you, Hunter. So at the beginning of the call, we touched on the idea that we've come up with of creating an appeal and a fund for making Christmas a bit happier for some of the less fortunate kids, in particular in the Philippines. And so what we've done is we set up a wallet specifically for that. Nancy is in control of that. And what I'll be doing is putting a message on a regular basis into the Telegram group, which just a video that shows something I think Ace has already done in the past, which was again a way of gifting Christmas presents to the less fortunate children in the Philippines. And it's something that we'd love to do, or I'd love to do, to contribute to that, so that we can reach even more children in the Philippines. And we chose, obviously, there's children all over the world that suffer in the same way, but we obviously have a particular attachment to the Philippines and all of the wonderful, people that we have who work with ACE in the Philippines. And so, I almost feel as if we can adopt the Philippines. I certainly feel as if I'm attached to it as a member of Pool Funding. And I just think it would be a wonderful thing for us to do for the children of the Philippines, to give them a nice Christmas. So I'll be doing a regular post in the Telegram group, inviting people to make a contribution. And that's about it.
Hey, Paul.
Thank you for everyone who contributes.
Hey, Paul, I was just wondering if you could put that special wallet address into the chat right now.
Yeah, great idea. Let me do that. I'll grab it
Appreciate it.
From Nancy's message to me. There's also a QR code that, if anybody prefers to have that, we can arrange for that to be posted as well. Here we go. That's Nancy's message. Okay, this is the wallet address. What should we call this? This is toys for yeah, there's another, what was the phrase? Who can tell me the phrase? Rosalie?
Batang.
Batang. Toys
Batang.
for Batang Pinoy.
Toys for, what was it?
Batang.
That's right.
Batang.
Thank you.
Batang, anak.
Okay. Wallet address. There it is, folks.
And folks, for anyone watching this on YouTube, I'll also have that wallet address in the video description down below. So go ahead and check that out and absolutely donate if you can. The Filipinos and Filipinas that we've gotten to know over the past while are absolutely great people. The whole lot of them. And I definitely enjoyed talking with each and every one of them when I get a chance. And I absolutely can't wait to meet them when the whales go on tour.
Remind us where your address is again for your donation to help keep you running.
So for Hunter, do you mean? For Hunter? For Hunter or for the children?
No, for Hunter. For Hunter.
For Hunter.
All right, I'll go ahead and put my wallet address in again.
Thank you. Thank you.
There you go. Alrighty, and let me go ahead and go to the comments here, make sure I didn't miss anything. All right, Mary says, so I think we should also reach out to churches that are tied to orphanages. Well, that's not a bad idea. All right, so with that, are there any questions, comments, anything of the sort before we close out here?
Do we send USDT to these addresses? Is that what we send?
Yep, USDT.
Okay.
And
Thanks,
thank you in
guys.
advance for everybody. And as Nancy was saying earlier on in the call, she's going to be, or Ace has promised to put up the funds so that we can record everything, all the giving of the gifts to the children as well. So that'll be a wonderful thing for us all to see and feel that we've been a part of.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Great meeting. Thank you.
Yeah,
Hunter.
absolutely. With that in mind, if there's nothing else, we'll go ahead and close out here. Thank you, everyone, for joining me and a great night at Crypto Cove. I'll go ahead and stop the recording.